Hi everyone, thank you so much for joining me. So in today's video, I'm going to show you how to pinpoint spot conceal. There we go. Took me a minute to figure that out in my head. In particular, if you want to create a really natural skin base but don't want to be kind of really caked in a hell of a lot of makeup or wearing real full coverage, you want to still look really natural and just cover those annoying friends that we all get from time to time, okay? And if you want to learn lots of other makeup tips, give this channel a subscribe because you, my friends, are more than welcome. And as always, my videos are never filtered, they're up close, raw, real skin. Let's go. So let's get to it. First product I'm going in with is the CC Red Correct. So you can see on my skin I'm quite red or redder here, kind of around the mouth. And I've obviously got some little blemishy marks. I've been picking, guilty as charged. So I've spoken about these types of products before. They are the most wonderful, easy product to work with because it's by ERBORIAN, FYI, CC Red Correct. So these basically green and then they melt into like a beige colour on the skin. This is the Spectrum B08 brush. I'll do one side and you can just, you know, slap it on with your fingers, but I'm going for a bit more finesse today. She's a lady. She's a lady. So I'm just layering this where I want a bit more coverage. And can you see how I'm just layering where I want a bit more coverage, like I just said. And look at that. Look at the difference between this side and this side. It's just been airbrushed, hasn't it? So I'm gonna do the other side now. And if you're finding you're getting loads of like brush streak marks, just take your brush and rub it in the palm of your hand or a tissue or a towel, because you just potentially got a bit too much product left on your brush. It's such wonderful stuff. Now I want to show you how you can cover blemishes really easily, because I have so many clients over the years that think, right, I've got some blemishes, I need to go full coverage everywhere. Well, let me tell you, that is BS and wrong, okay? If you want to keep that natural look, all you need to do is kind of pinpoint spot concealing. So we're going to use like a mini version of this brush. You've got anything like this. These are technically eyeshadow kind of crease. This is a mini crease blending brush. And a bigger one, so they're phenomenal. These are both by My Kitco, one of my favourite brush brands, as well as, you know, I love the Katie Jane Hughes Spectrum brushes. Anyway, I'm getting off course. So you can use this because basically there's a million and one ways you can do this, okay? You can use a tiny weeny nugget of a brush. What I find happens with that is you need to have a bit more balance and a really high level of skill and patience to get the product on without it lifting off, without putting too much on, without getting weird edges basically. Cue these kind of brushes. So you want something that's slightly domed, nice and firm, not too floppy, that's gonna deposit the product really nicely. My concealer of choice for this is the NARS Radiant Creamy Concealer. Even though it's called creamy and radiant, it's not going to radiate the spot and bring it out to life. You really want to be mindful of the texture you're using. You don't want to be using like an illuminating radiant concealer, because that is just going to amplify the texture. What you want to do is go for something that's kind of very skin-like and one that will match whatever foundation you're wearing essentially. But obviously, because you want a longer wear to it, you don't want something, because you want that good coverage to it as well in that smaller area. And what you can always do is layer over with your foundation on top, so it just truly matches and just disappears into the skin. So when I'm working on blemishes, I wouldn't apply the product on the blemish because bacteria. This is the shade Crème Brûlée, so it's slightly, and then I'm just gonna pick up at the product, and all I do, see how I'm really gently dabbing that on. Look, it's gone. So when I work with a lot of on editorial or commercial campaigns, or even clients that really don't like a lot of makeup on, this is the technique I will do for kind of covering blemishes. A little goes a long, long way. Got one on the tip of my nose. And there's nothing you'll be able to do about the texture. The texture will always remain. If it's really dry and kind of crusty, you'll want to use a slight exfoliant on there. So depending on your skin type, go for something like a PHA if you're really, really sensitive to any exfoliants like AHAs or BHAs, and use the other ones, the other two I just mentioned, if you've got a more normal skin. And another thing, when you're spot concealing, you don't want to use an overly greasy skincare. You want something that's kind of mid-level, because anything too wet underneath will make everything slip on top, because we want longevity. So think maybe go with those serum textures, maybe a lightweight gel cream moisturizer or a lightweight lotion. So I'm just kind of brightening up a little bit around the eye. I'm not going to go too wild because this isn't the point of this video, but you get the idea. You don't want to, I'm just trying to look in the mirror to see if I'm kind of happy with that. Yeah, so you just want it to really read a skin, and you would do the same for any color correcting you wanted to do. With color correcting, it might get a little bit more technical, so let me know if you want a specific video about specific things there. But as I said, you can go back into the foundation and just dab that on top, just to ensure everything really marries up. And look, it just looks like skin. It's amazing. You wouldn't know that I've got any product on my skin. Obviously you would, but it looks very natural, and that's like my personal kind of comfort, what I really like to achieve in a makeup. Like, to me, the biggest compliment, someone's like, oh my gosh, your skin looks really nice, you know, that is, you don't want to like always see makeup on the skin. Do you get me? Do you get me? So there are some other nuances, like I was saying, with color correcting on the skin, like a darker pigmentation mark, or, you know, I don't know what they're called, they're kind of the purple marks you get on your face. There's loads of different things you can do. So let me know if you want more information about that. But things you want to avoid is using something too light, because that will bring everything forward. It's not like, you don't want to be using your banana brightening concealer on your blemishes, because that will highlight them and bring them forward. You want something that's kind of similar to your skin, and if it's really angry and red, like using a color corrector will really help you dull down that redness in that angry blemish. So, and then if you're a deeper skin tone, blemishes can be a little bit darker than your skin tone, so you kind of want to go this shade but way darker. So you want to think kind of rusty colours, a burnt orange, something like that, to really lift that pigment in the skin. And then go over with your foundation, just a very small amount. So I hope that's been helpful. Let me know what other videos you'd like to see. Thank you so much for joining me as always, and I will see you next week.